right, finally, I would like you to listen to a couple of pieces that are out of your next repertoire book. And I think all of these are manageable for you. I think the biggest interval we have is a seventh, which I'm pretty sure you're doing right now. So the first one is called the German Dance, and I know you don't have music to look at this point, so just kind of listen and see if you like things about the piece. You don't have to like any of them, but it would be nice if you liked at least one. I tried to pick some that are different styles, but nothing that's a hugely new concept. The German Dance is in D major, which you learned how to play in D major at the end of the 3A book, so that shouldn't be a problem for you. So this is one of my favorite. This is by Haydn, one of my favorite of his short dances. Binary, so that's the A section. Normally in the binary things you would practice them repeating, but I'm just going to play, I probably should have told you that before I started. I'm just going to play the A and then the B, and I think that it may be that all three of the pieces, the last piece I will play the repeats on, but the two that are the binary form I'm going to just play without. So let me do that again. And the B section. Okay, so that's Haydn's German Dance in D major. Then there is a piece on the next page that is in 6/8 time, but it's in C major. So we started learning how to play in 6/8 time in your previous lesson book. So it might be nice for us to review that because we haven't had, I don't remember if we had 6/8 time yet in this book or not, but anyway. So this is a gigue, which it was a dance, and this is by someone named Samuel Arnold, who composed, this looks like it's the classical time period, but he's using a form that was very popular during the Baroque time period. It was one of they did a lot of dances during the Baroque time period. So, this is the gigue. It's supposed to go vivace, which means very fast, but I'm not going to go very fast today, just so you can hear a decent sound at it, so. So that's the gigue, and then finally, near the back, this is a different time period, is the musette. A musette. Now, a musette was also a dance that was popular during the Baroque period. So when I'm talking about the Baroque time period, B-A-R-O-Q-U-E, it lasted from 1600 to 1750-ish. And I think a lot of what came out of that time period was these short dances, which in your book look like they're about one page. But remember that back then they didn't have Netflix and video games and all sorts of things that we have now to entertain us. When it got dark, and they also didn't have electricity, so when it got dark, they would light the candles, they would push the furniture out, and people would dance. That was part of the way they entertained themselves, particularly when they would have friends over. But even families would do that, make music together and dance. And so a lot of short dances were written during that time period. And a musette is supposed to give us a feeling of a bagpipe, and how a bagpipe has this drone sound that goes on while you're playing the rest of the melody. So you're going to notice in this piece that the left hand stays in a fifth of the tonic chord the whole time. And so the interest is in what happens with the right hand. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do the repeats on this is because there's supposed to be contrast between the forte and piano in each of the presentations of these little, they're essentially like a one-line melody that you repeat, you do forte and then repeat it piano. And then at the end he does something just a little bit different. So you're going to hear me having a very boring left hand. But when we think about we're trying to build a guild repertoire, and you can get an extra point for if you do something from each of the time periods. At your level it's not required. When we get into the intermediate level, then it is required. So I think it's kind of nice if you can do some of those kinds of pieces, that we start doing short ones now so that you kind of get ready for when it's required. So this would be fairly simple to memorize, to have in your repertoire. So as another idea, I'm letting you pick one of the three, so you don't have to like this one, but this is called a musette by Felix Lecoupé. He looks French to me, so. Alright, so you might have noticed I made it a little modal. It's in the key of G, and I forgot my F sharps a couple times. Happens to us all, doesn't it? So it's not supposed to sound modal. It should sound like in a mode where you're not having all the half steps and whole steps happening the way that we are used to hearing it with our regular Western style scale. So it should always sound like that. So that, I think it that piece just makes you want to smile. It sounds happy, and it would go about that tempo, maybe a little bit faster, but probably not too much faster. So you have the musette, which I played last. You have the German dance by Haydn, that was the first one. And then you had that Gigue, which was in 6/8. So you can take and listen to the video again and see if there are things, and then maybe just jot down somewhere on maybe on your sheet that I give you with practice ideas, which one you think you might like to work on. And then we can, depending on what's essential, when I see you next, we may go ahead and start it, particularly with some musette, because it's just kind of learning the right hand. But I think it's kind of cool how he does, and this was a time when they weren't doing syncopation, but he really, like syncopation like we're used to in jazz and all that, but he's got these notes tying over the bar line into the next measure, and I just think that's kind of interesting. So you think about it and see, and you know what, if you end up liking more than one, I guess I didn't say that part, but that just gives us more things that we can work on. You just have to pick which one you wanted to do first, but these are all possibilities that we could do here in the near future. So anyway, I will look forward to seeing you next time.